What's up, movie world? We just saw Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. How much fun was this movie?
It was a lot of fun. So goofy. So just
based on the title,
yeah,
what you're expecting is borderline Asylum meets Sci-Fi Channel, just kind of high budget B-movie silliness.
And that's what you get. It was Abraham Lincoln Vampire. I mean, it was this. It was that. If you're the kind of person that heard about this movie, I was like, okay, I gotta see that. It rewarded you.
It's
like,
absolutely
so
going to deliver. It surprised me beyond what I thought it was going to be.
It has the potential to be just hype only and just name only. It was Abe Lincoln with the axe and crazy, not even bullet time, it's axe time they invented in this movie.
Take a 300 with the swords, replace it with the axe.
And just blood and all crazy, and just jumping around and dancing.
The iconic hat with that.
It's an applaud movie. It's you sit there like when he puts on the hat. We started the applause for that, but
well, yeah,
other people joined in.
It's very much like an Evil, like you mentioned, Evil Dead 2.
Exactly.
Where once you're like 20 minutes in, you're like, oh, this is what this is?
Right.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
And you could see this being a midnight movie every now and then, kind of Halloween or whatever.
Totally.
And it'll be a fun, just audience kind of cheering sort of thing.
Exactly.
You made this great point that it was a better experience than Prometheus.
Yes. I'll see this again. Probably not going to see Prometheus again.
Right.
Like when this comes out on DVD, I'll get a red box. I'll definitely watch that again.
Characters and the story are really thought out very well, almost like in a Forrest Gump kind of way.
Thought out very well in the terms of this reality, of this movie, which we'll get into.
You really want to check this out because it's going to be this, okay, president is a vampire hunter. It's going to deliver, man.
Yeah, totally. We paid full price 3D, and I don't feel like I got ripped off. Like, I had a fun time. You see a matinee, you don't have to see it in the big screen. Like, it's not like, oh, you must run out and go see this, and you have to appreciate it on the big screen in a crowded movie theater.
Right.
But it definitely had that, like, full theater energy, like, people applauding. We saw it in, like, a half-empty theater, and people were still waiting.
It was still fun. People still applauding.
Yeah, totally. So for that, you might want to go see it in the theater, just because it is a good time. If you want to go see a movie, just go see this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking rental, but as it went along, I'm like, you know what? It delivers on what it says it is, and it's a lot of fun. So it's a matinee.
There you go.
It's a matinee.
Works for me. Totally.
Check it out. Come back afterwards. We're going to do a spoiler-filled review as soon as we press stop.
Slaves get freed. That's the spoiler. Spoiler, sorry.
I review movie previews. It's just a silly mashup of a couple, like two ideas.
Yeah, pretty much. And well executed, though. I mean, really well executed.
Anything can be an entertaining movie if it's made well.
Right, exactly. And this was done, because this is the axe. Every shot of him doing this crazy axe choreography with just all over his back, it's so done in slow motion. And then when he's like the scene where he's cutting through the plantation and they're playing Linkin Park behind him and he's just charging through and flipping and this way and that and over and under and slow motion ripping through people. Or on the train where they're tossing the axe back and forth between them.
That was great. That was
just all kinds of crazy, silly ridiculousness. And it's fun. And the whole time, it's Abraham Lincoln. So they just ratchets it up another level.
Definitely a lot of homage to Matrix. That scene in the plantation,
very much so.
Very much like Neo and Trinity going into that building in the first movie.
Well, then, and also there's the whole scene with the horses is just like in the second one where they're on the highway jumping from car to car.
Yeah.
Same thing with they're jumping from horse to horse. There's all this crazy with the horse stampede. And there's like the bad guys like using the horse and throwing it at him, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
So the basic story. So imagine, I always look at this as just like a Forrest Gump kind of style where like you take the reality and now you place some sort of fictional twist on it. The TV series Dark Skies leaps out at me as a memory because that was kind of during that X-Files time in the late 90s. And it was, okay, you know all the stuff that happened in the 60s? It was because aliens were on Earth. Kennedy was going to tell us about aliens. The Beatles, something aliens related. So it was like, just take the 60s and put aliens on top of it. So here we have, just take Abraham Lincoln and throw in the fact that there's vampires involved with everything.
The gist of it is the vampires are controlling the South. because they're basically buying up slaves and then just eating them.
They need a food supply.
They need a food supply, which is what slavery is, part of that. And then once they start the Civil War, they want to use that as an opportunity to take over the country, basically. Have a vampire country. Vampires end up assisting and being soldiers in the Confederacy, like unstoppable super soldiers, basically.
We've had references in pop culture to the Nazi zombies in Sucker Punch.
Kaiser.
Well, Sucker Punch had Kaiser steampunk zombies,
yes.
but there's Nazi zombies in other kind of video games and things like that. So here we have the first mention that I can remember of
Confederate vampires.
Confederate vampire warriors.
I can't believe it's taken us this long. But makes sense though when you think about it.
It's a cool twist. Seth Graham Greene, I guess, is the writer here. He's the one who wrote the book back a few years ago.
Now, what's interesting to me was that I thought this was originally a graphic novel, and you're saying it was just an actual book.
It's like a book, just like that Jane Austen
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Because the shots in here were so graphic novel image, like comic book image, like all these just fetishistic captures of holding the axe just so, or slicing through the guy with the blood splattering everywhere. This guy, the director, is the guy that did Wanted.
Timber, Russian last name.
Russian last name. Wanted was a horrible movie, but it was a lot of fun to watch.
Wanted was almost like a Fight Club meets something 300-ish kind of
the
visuals.
Loom of Destiny. I'm sorry, the Loom ruined it all.
There were very cheesy moments, but it had a nice spirit to it that didn't deliver 100% what it could have been. But here, he's taken the material and his visuals,
and he's very much from the Zack Snyder school. But unlike Zack Snyder, who we've bitched about before in Sucker Punch, this was inventive, and the action scenes were so much fun and so much joy to. If I have any complaint about the movie, I could have used about like 15% more axe.
You need more cowbell?
I need more cowbell. I need more cowbell. I need more crazy blood axe action. And like his buddy has got the two guns going. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get the John Woo flying through the air sideways. I wanted a little bit more fighting. A little bit more and a little less exposition and although it wasn't tiresome. The exposition was never like, that's a problem with some of these kinds of movies, is that they have this great idea, but then they just get so bogged down and they feel like they have to shove in a love interest, or they have always like things they have to give to storytelling, but they don't do it well. So then you're left with this bad exposition, all the stuff you have to slog through to get to the good parts. And that wasn't a problem here. The story was well written. The dialogue, and it was cheesy at times, but it worked because it was cheesy. There's like, I think 3 or 4 times, not to toot my own horn or anything, but like I called.
This movie, it knows what movies like this do or should do.
Right.
And when the time comes when, like, it's Rambo putting the red bandana on to get ready for war, you know when someone asks the question or there's going to be a one-liner coming up, you know what it's going to be. So you made the right call when the bad guy, Adam, played by Rufus Sewell from Dark City and Knight's Tale, among other movies, he says, "Where's the silver?"
Right here!
And then he punches him.
Or the scene where they're discussing about how much silver we're gonna need. All of it.
Right.
You know that's coming if you're a fan of these kinds of movies. And when it delivers, it hits this like Pavlovian pleasure response center in your brain. The same way, not anymore, but the way we used to cheer every time, the millionth time James Bond would say, "Shaken, not stirred."
Yeah.
You know, that like, even though we know it's coming, there's like this little pleasure button on the brain and it hits. So it's that fine line between cliche, but here it's enjoyable.
Yeah, like just genre expectations.
Yeah, genre expectation. Like why Expendables was so enjoyable, why Kick-Ass was, like all those kinds of movies, why they're so enjoyable because they hit those expectations.
Or even here, after he's been president for a while, he goes to the old box and takes the axe out.
But he's 50-year-old Abraham Lincoln, which is great. You know?
And you know he's going to start slowly using the axe, and then it's going to come back to him that he's going to know how to do it. And you're like, oh, the badass is coming back. Yep. Then they do the Joss Whedon thing where, like, oh, he drops it. Yeah, like the cliche and then a little bit of a joke on it.
Right.
The visuals here, too, were inside of our cinema memories. We're like, oh, it would look cool from this angle. Or if he did this. And they kind of do it. They're just a second ahead of us, but we're with them the whole time.
Exactly. And so they give us like the total slow-mo freeze frame, hit girl running through the hallway, but amped up to the nth degree with axes flying through vampires. And it's just absolutely over-the-top insane and really enjoyable because of it. It's so weird because it's all very CGI. Like a lot of the scenes are 100% CGI. But that's the NPC's theory here is that they actually digitally altered the actor's face to look more like Liam Neeson.
To make us feel like it, because Abraham Lincoln does not look like Liam Neeson.
He looked like Liam Neeson, and it was perfect for it. It was absolutely. Yeah. I felt like I was in the hands of a badass the entire time.
I mean, I had that feeling of like unofficial Taken move, and then he even looked more like Liam Neeson once he became older.
The 50s,
and one of the most iconic shots of the movie was when he makes the transformation into 50-year-old.
Yeah.
And they do that silhouette kind of with the hat on, and then the music kicks in, and like
applauding.
Everyone started applauding for that. It's like, but it's ironic because at that point, he's not the ass kicker. He becomes the Abraham Lincoln politician, changing world kind of thing, abolishing slavery and all that. So they're cheering him becoming the man more than this fictional sort of just fun axe wheel.
Becoming the myth that we all know and love.
Which I did like that little theme that was going through where they repeated it twice, that, you know, history likes the battle but not the blood.
Right.
And the legend but not the man kind of thing.
Exactly,
so those ideas were nice. And they didn't know, like you're saying, they didn't overdo it. But there was enough in there. They had that great line of when that guy is training him. And again, like a Liam Neeson connection, almost like a Batman Begins kind of thing. And Batman Begins had a train at the end of it going towards that. But he says, think about what you hate. And
now he's with the axe. He goes to...
Again, we're one step ahead of it. We know he's hitting the tree. He's hitting the tree.
And there's going to be that shot of him breaking through the tree with one giant swing.
Yeah.
And there is, and it's so rewarding.
All he needs is just that one phrase to get him through that power surge so he can do that. And it happens, and then that guy has the great line of, what's more powerful than anger?
The truth.
The truth. You know, so it's just these fun little moments that kind of give us, and he's honest Abe, right? So he has to kind of... One of my favorite quotes of his was, if I had 3 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend 2 hours sharpening the axe. I wish they would have used that here.
Yeah, that's a good line.
It's a nice balance of theme, sort of character, bigger message, if you want to call it that, versus the genre expectations.
Right.
But you were saying the CGI looks kind of...
It looks cartoony. There's definitely scenes like the horse scene, the train sequence, when they're on the train, when they're going over the bridge, where it basically looks like it's all of a sudden the movie has shifted into some sort of like an animated feature, like very much like high-end video game graphics, like during a very high-end video game cutscene or something.
Yeah, or almost, what was that Robert Zemeckis train movie?
I was thinking, like that live-action stuff that Zemeckis was doing and all those
Beowulf,
and
train movie released every Christmas for more money. Yeah, exactly. Tom Hanks is the conductor.
Yes, but it wasn't jarring in the sense that bad CGI can be, because it wasn't like bad CGI mashed up against reality. It was all the CGI. Yeah. So it was just like, okay, all of a sudden I'm watching this now. And I was okay with that. It was fine.
It reminded me a lot of, there's some moments in one of the Lord of the Rings movies where they do like the big battle. And you can kind of tell at 2002, they kind of do the big shot far away. And it looks a little CGI. So I don't know if they were rushing to finish it here. Or
I don't think they had enough money to do those crazy ass scenes they had to really do them. Like, so if they looked photorealistic, the movie would have been like triple the budget, man. Like,
because they did have some ambitious shots here, like with the Civil War and all that. They really went for it with that, especially that horse scene, which is a cool idea.
Yeah.
Totally unnecessary for the story. He goes to kill the killer of his mom back at the place where, let's say, the trouble started at the dock. Yeah. And he's about to have this emotional moment, and then all of a sudden the guy's, I'm going to start a stampede. And then they start whipping horses around and jumping from horse to horse. And
because why not?
Why not? You know, it's almost like the director, I don't know if this is in the book or not, we need something cinematic and big enough.
Yes.
Like, it can't just be a small emotional moment he gets his revenge. It's got to be a much more production, huge, big screen kind of thing. And it's a fun moment. As we mentioned in the intro, this does have more sense to it than Prometheus when it comes to the character.
Yeah, I like this more than like Prometheus. And on its face, that seems like a ridiculous statement.
So let's talk about it.
It seems absolutely ludicrous, so I want to get into that. But the reason is because of the expectations you're going in with and what you want out of a movie and what the rules are the world creates for itself. In this world, it is a fun Evil Dead 2, Dead Alive B-movie, over the top, knows how silly it is, but doesn't wink at the camera though, plays it straight, and is fun for fun's sake. Now, Prometheus, I'm asked to believe this is real.
Yes.
That's the difference.
And serious.
And serious. So in the world of Prometheus, I should be interpreting it as if it's happening in real life. All right. Now, granted, a real life in the future, within this alien world, that's fine, because sci-fi, really good science fiction takes you there. Blade Runner, the original Alien, Aliens, take you into that future world.
Even Fifth Element does a good job of it.
Right, or the original Total Recall. That's a whole other thing.
We just see a preview for the new Total
Recall. New bastard in hell. Get your ass to Mars.
Who is it this time, my mother?
Get your ass to Mars.
Quaid! Total Recall everything
Open
to come.
Your mind to me.
So Prometheus.
But that's the difference, though. So because in Prometheus, the mindset we go into it is, this is reality unfolding, and this is what we want to see is people reacting to the situations as real people would behave.
Right.
This is a cartoon.
Yeah.
I no more expect reality from this movie than I do from a Tex Avery cartoon, Bugs Bunny,
right.
Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. You appreciate them on those terms.
And it sets you up with the previews, with all the promotion of, okay, this is what you should be expecting from this movie. So Abraham Lincoln does a great job fulfilling those expectations, where Prometheus failed because, it's all about everything. It's these big ideas. It'll be in the future. It's Ridley Scott coming back. It's serious. It's got this great writer involved, and these characters are going to be exploring this world.
It's not really a case of expectations. That's not it. It's not a case of, like, because I had such high hopes for Prometheus going in.
Well,
it's not
based
in
on
that
what
sense.
it promised.
Exactly. When we're talking about expectations, we mean the rules set by the world of the movie.
Yes.
The rules set by the fiction.
It doesn't have 100% flawless logic.
No, but this is the kind of movie where you can forgive, oh, okay, all of a sudden Jack Speed and the non-slave buddy from the beginning, they're like members of cabinet now somehow or whatever. The evil vampire now somehow infiltrates and kills the kid. And
right. Part of me still, because they did a great job, it's almost, again, like you mentioned Chicago, right? The improv kind of capital.
Right.
And one of the things there is, like, if you want comedy or if you want, it's got to be authentic first. And
right.
they play everything so straight here for so long.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of lapses here. The one moment when they go to the plantation for the big fight. And then, of course, the Adam bad guy, the main villain character, too bad I had to sacrifice my best men to see if you were up to the task. And we're like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
They escape, and we just cut to 20 years later. He's 50-year-old Abe Lincoln. Wouldn't Adam retaliate a little bit quicker? Why would no? No, I honestly do, because I think that they're so focused on getting to him as older.
You gotta get to the good stuff. You gotta get to him as Honest Abe, and
I don't know if the book maybe covers that territory, and they're like, we can't do everything.
Okay, so it's funny because that's your complaint.
Yeah.
My complaint, there's no money shot of him with the hat. That's my complaint. There's no shot of him as old Abe, but no, with the hat and the axe. There's no, like, give me back my hat.
Okay,
right? You know what I mean?
Okay, like Indy with the whip in the hat,
right?
or something
Exactly.
like that.
I want something goofy like that, or something like with him using the hat.
You wanted to turn that into like some signature catchphrase for him or something.
Exactly, something like that. Because it definitely, like, he plays the axe as a big, like, elements, but and the hat is iconic.
It's super iconic.
It is referenced during the movie many times, but never like as a badass fight thing. That's my complaint.
They should have set it up in the beginning. Once he puts the hat on, it's
go time.
Yeah, it's go
exactly.
Time. Okay.
Like, I'm thinking maybe like his dying father gives him the hat, or like something like that. Boy, this is my hat. It stands for truth and liberty.
Right, because it's like the axe is a good enough signature, but when you put that on, when you get the suit going,
exactly,
then you're just like, look out. Yeah. I'm always gonna be the person who wants even more story and more character.
Right.
Like, even in something as silly as this, kind of automatic follow through, just one action leads to another, but I understand that they're kind of giving you the greatest hits of his life.
Right.
So how can we fit all of this within that?
It is the greatest hits of the era. Like, you got Harriet Tubman, which we started laughing at, because, like, it was like, Miss Tubman.
But then it gets very Forrest Gumpy at that point, where it's like, okay, he invents the smiley T-shirt, he meets this president, that president.
Well, and that great ending line of, where's the silver?
Yeah.
There are other railroads. The Underground Railroad, motherfucker.
Like, dude, I mean, hey, they worked it all in perfect. I almost want bigger celebrity cameos of all the famous people.
Well, I feel like there's probably like a good 10 or 15 minutes of, what's his face in Illinois? Douglas. Played by Alan Tudyk of Joss Whedon fame, of Firefly and Dollhouse. She's engaged to him, then obviously she doesn't give a shit, and he doesn't give a shit. So I feel like there's stuff there that's not really that's on the cutting room floor somewhere.
Yeah.
And again, that's such a minor complaint.
Well, you brought up a great point. We need to talk about this. Would this movie be enjoyable if
it's just vampire hunter? If it's like set in the 1800s, like Civil War era, and the axe and all that other stuff, but it's not Abraham Lincoln.
It's not Abraham Lincoln.
Is it still enjoyable? My answer is Yeah, but not as much. Like, the real fun comes from the sincere goofiness that it is Abraham Lincoln doing all this stuff. There's this one shot of them where it's not like anything special happens. It's like near the end, and they're on the train, him and his buddy, and we both started laughing because it's just this, after all this crazy action, it slows down just long enough. Oh yeah, Abraham Lincoln. Like, it's so... You're reminded of how goofy the whole premise is.
And it's 50-year-old Abraham Lincoln.
It's 50-year-old Abraham Lincoln. Right. It is Abraham Lincoln as we remember him. As
and then on top of that, it's taken Liam Neeson doing Abraham Lincoln. Like, there's all these levels of just... It's fun. And it definitely wouldn't be as marketable.
No, not at all. It wouldn't be marketable, It
would not have made it to the theater if it was just like Vampire Hunter,
set in the 1800s.
The idea of an 1800s vampire hunter in Civil War
and I like, if you want to get into vampire mythology, they did like little twists on it with stuff where like the sunlight's not a problem for them for whatever reason. They got like sunblock. They can disappear at will and like reappear, and there's a law in their universe where vampires can't fight each other. You can't have a good vampire. There's no like losing their soul apparently.
So the one guy who trains Abe Lincoln,
which is a great character. He's a badass. He's a lot of fun. He's a fun trainer.
He wants to get revenge on Adam, the guy who made everyone.
Right, but he can't physically attack Adam. Well, they can't attack each other.
But then they fight later.
But they can't kill each other.
So
but again, I don't give a shit.
It's like they can hurt each other,
but they can't kill each other.
But they can't kill each other.
Yeah.
I think that saying a movie like this should be allowed logic gaps is kind of a cop-out a little. There are movies like Naked Gun is a flawlessly logic-following film.
Right.
Because it obeys its universe perfectly.
Yes.
So I think that when movies kind of realize what they want to do and where they want to be at, if they can just let that go, just
for the comedy to work, it has to obey its own rules perfectly, because the comedy of that kind of only works because it's being played off how straight,
but
the audience like the
story still makes sense,
right?
So
the Queen and Reggie Jackson,
but
that's the apparatus the comedy revolves around. Once you take that out, the comedy stops working because then you're questioning the apparatus. In this, it's just a goofy fun ride. I don't think it's a cop-out to say it can have gaps in logic in this kind of movie. I think if people question, well, how can you say that about this, and then you had so much problems with Prometheus or any other movie that we...
two different
worlds, two different realms of fiction, and two different, what you want out of this, what this movie is presenting itself as and promising the audience.
Absolutely, yeah. Is this a movie that adds to the progress of cinema, or does it keep it neutral?
I don't know about progress of cinema, but
does it hurt cinema? Does it just keep it even, or does it add to it and propel it forward in some way?
I mean, maybe it adds to it in the sense of just it allows for the sheer goofiness. Like, this could never have gotten made 10 years ago, But then again, we're not at a point in pop culture. We weren't there 10. Now we are at a point where there is a market for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
That is something that's not too crazy to get made into a movie.
Exactly.
So... Are
we going to work towards the Mount Rushmore Ultimate Avengers Expendables movie?
I know. Where it's... Because it's like the Avengers. So here's the Abraham Lincoln movie.
Yeah.
And then George Washington Werewolf Hunter.
Right.
And then Teddy Roosevelt Alien Hunter. I don't know. And then...
who's the fourth guy? Jefferson?
Jefferson, yeah.
Jefferson.
Yeah, who must, if Washington's fighting werewolves, then he's fighting like, the merman or something. Or mummies.
Well, I always go to Monster Squad for all this. So is it like mummies or Frankenstein?
It's Frankenstein, yeah, exactly. Frankenstein. So yeah,
they
all converge, chuds, cannibalistic humanoid underground.
So then they converge in the President's movie.
In the President's movie, which maybe takes place in present day.
Present day.
Yeah.
So we could have Obama.
Speaking of present day, so did it not look like to you that the guy at the end with the gun?
Okay.
That what's his name? The
trainer,
because it repeats itself.
Same kind of thing at the end.
Was that Obama? I don't know.
That is interesting. I wonder if they said like 2002.
They didn't. They didn't. It was very clear. They showed the helicopter, so it's clear we're in present day.
Interesting. Okay.
I might be totally pulling that out of my ass, but that's what I thought they were going for.
Believe me, the whole thing that Marvel did with like having each movie end, that's like something that every movie's trying to do now.
Everyone's doing. Oh yeah, everything. Everyone's. So yeah, that's their new.
Just mashing up weird concepts like this. Is this a good thing for storytelling, for big screen storytelling?
Well, just so we're in such like a weird postmodern area of pop culture now, where it just everything's collapsing in on itself, and it's a snake that eats its own tail, like just ad infinitum, and you run out of a point where I don't know, eventually you're going to run out of material. But for right now, we need the vampire, Frankenstein, mummy, Monster Squad mashup with all the presidents. And why not?
Well, I did.
Why not?
I did buy a comic about a year ago.
Yeah.
It was just at the store, and I couldn't resist it.
Yeah.
Ash from Evil Dead.
Right, nice.
Ash saves Obama.
Awesome.
And it was, awesome. I didn't even read it. I just had the cover, well, and it's Ash in the classic Hope, that poster.
Yeah.
That famous, like, blue and
are you
red.
serious?
And it's Ash's face like that, and it says Hope.
That's great.
I'm like, okay, so
But the comic book world has been doing this for years.
Yeah, that's
We had
true.
RoboCop versus Terminator. We had Alien versus Predator. That all originated in the comic book world.
Spawn and Batman.
Spawn versus Batman. Batman versus Dracula.
Yeah.
We had, I mean, an Elseworld series. Alan Moore.
Okay.
With the original League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Right.
The original great mashup where he took, that got ruined in that horrible Sean Connery movie.
Right.
But no, if you remember, that was all those classic, like Jules Verne and literary characters, and he did this awesome mashup of them. Turn of the century crime fighting unit or whatever. Yeah. They should remake that.
Time for a reboot.
It'd be time for a reboot on that
one. It's just too good of an idea to be done badly.
Exactly.
I think the whole point of this is that there's no idea that is inherently bad. It's all in the execution.
It's all in the execution.
We might be in this age now where we're just taking these ideas, these famous pop culture references, putting them together, and that's cool.
But if something fun comes out of it, like you can combine elements in exciting ways and have something original that comes out of that.
Exactly.
Also, that means we have to watch G.I. Joe Transformers Battleship, which I'm sure someone's working on right now.
That's going to happen someday.
That's going to happen, you know.
But if it's directed by Christopher Nolan and
no, not Christopher Nolan. You don't want Christopher Nolan directing G.I. Joe Transformers. You want whoever the hell this guy was, or like whoever does the safe movies, or like it's just something.
Well, those guys that do the story and can, from like a fan's point of view, plus from a technician's point of view, can take it all and deliver in a fun, entertaining, but at the same time knowledgeable way.
Somewhat, because again, this was a cartoon of a movie, but it was an intelligent cartoon to a certain extent.
We didn't do together a review for Battleship. We have seen the movie. This was a high concept movie. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is that, because all you need to say is the title. That's high concept.
Yes.
Battleship, high concept marketability maybe.
Lowest concept execution.
But execution is beyond horrible. Could Battleship have been a good movie? Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Absolutely. The time wasn't taken to it.
No,
so it's all about the care and the passion and the knowledge. So we're not against any kind of idea out there. We're against bad execution.
Exactly. If they want to turn, a lot of jokes have been made about Hungry Hippos or Operation, I don't know if they want to throw Nicolas Cage in a movie with hippos, but like it's put in the right hands of the right writer. Like any idea can be made good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about that, and it comes down to us demanding more. It's Hollywood or StoryCorp gives us more of what we pay for. So we got to choose our movies wisely. I think we've said all we can say about...
I think we said more than we need to say about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Matinee worthy based on what you want from it. It delivers. It delivers on what it promised it would deliver. And until next review, long live good movies. What's up, movie world? Jonas, we just saw
Abraham Lincoln Vampire
Hunter. So